What's going on, guys? It's your boy, man. I'm at work right now. You know what I'm saying, getting it. I know I haven't been posting a lot of candle videos lately, and it's just one, because I kind of got tired of doing the candle videos. I wanted to do something else. Two, as you see, I've been working a lot. So with me working a lot, I'm not gonna say I don't have time, but time is kind of like, my time is kind of tight. You know what I'm saying? So I try to do these videos real quick about things that I've learned, I'm learning, and today I want to talk about work ethic. So I'm gonna talk about work ethic real quick. In a previous video, I talked about, you know, how I pretty much made $10,000 to pay off credit card debt, right? So I think as of this video, I got like my last 1,000 that I'm gonna pay off this week, but this was 10,000 previous to that. And so I'm gonna tell you kind of how I did it real quick. I might make another video in depth. If you want to see the last video I posted, it's not long form, it's short form, but that has the whole thing on it. But I want to talk about the importance of work ethic. So maybe a couple years ago, I did an event, because if you know, obviously I make candles, I did events, I did parties or whatever, and the event lost me money. Like, you know what I'm saying, I spent a lot of money. I don't know if I'm comfortable telling you the, you know, it was over $10,000, but I spent a lot of money for this event, and I didn't make back what I, you know, put in. And so, you know, I spent up a lot of my cash reserves. I, you know, went in debt, all type of stuff, you know, because I thought it was gonna work. I felt like I had a team at the time that I thought was gonna connect, but it did not connect. And so for a while, you know, I was struggling, because I'm like, man, how am I gonna pay back all this money? You know, at the time I wasn't working. I had left my previous job just because a lot of stress and a lot of things that was going on. And, you know, I thought I was gonna be able to get something, you know, secure, but it took me a while to get something secure. So I wind up working for a friend, and that was like a couple years later. I wind up working for a friend once I kind of got out of my funk. And not even when I got out of my funk, I was still in the funk, but I was like, I gotta pay down this debt. So starting last year, top of last year, January 2025, I was like, I'm gonna work to pay down this debt. And the only reason why I was able to do it is because, and I can make another video about this, but I was able to convert that credit card debt into a personal loan and then pay off the personal loan. Because I was trying to pay off the credit card debt, and it's just like, I'm paying the debt, but I'm using the card, I'm paying the debt, I'm using the card. But when I turned it into a personal loan, which is what I talked about in the other video, talking about how I paid down $10,000, then I was able to like make payments a lot quicker. And because you get like 3 months where you don't have to make payments, or 6 months where you don't have to make payments or whatever, I was able to start earlier and pay it down quicker. That was one of the ways that I did it. But I'm talking about work ethic today for a specific reason, right? So I know this time in this season, as you see, I'm at work. I know this time during this season is hard for a lot of people. It can be hard for a lot of people. And one thing I kind of try to tell my friends is, one, you got two things. You either got to hunker down or you got to do a little more. And so this is where work ethic comes in. So I left the last job that I was at. This was probably almost a year ago, June of last year. And for like 5 months, I didn't work, you know. And that's why I was pumping out a lot of videos. I was doing that. I was doing, you know, candle markets, pop-up markets, and things of that nature. But I didn't work as much. And so I was kind of burning through my reserves at the same times. And I was very frustrated, because I'm like, man, like, I'm pumping through my reserves. I left the job that was stressing me out. I was overwhelmed. I was a manager at a night lounge. I already had a lot of my own personal stuff going on top of that, dealing with the stress of drunk people, aggravating people, people fighting, people, you know what I'm saying, all these type of things. I managed a team of like 30 people. You know, it was just a lot of stress that was taking a toll on me. And I'm like, man, like, I'm making okay money. I don't got to work as much, but it's like I'm stressed out, you know. And I got to a point where I left, and I'm like, okay, well, I should be able to find a job. And I didn't. Even though I had a qualification, even though I had experience, you know, I had been a manager now at this particular place for 2 years, probably like 3 or 4 years of management experience. I'm like, somebody's going to hire me. Nobody hired me. I got maybe one call back in like 6 months, and you talking about dozens and dozens of applications. And I've been putting in applications really for the course of years, like hundreds of applications I put in on the course of years, which is why I had to go work for a friend, because I was not getting any hits for anything. Resumes, dozens of resumes, all this stuff, whatever. And so I kind of told myself, once I got a job and I hit the ground running, I was going to hit the ground running. And so that's what I did. So the last job, you know, it was fun, but it was stressful. But I always used my money to like pay towards that. So when I left that job without a backup plan, it was kind of frustrating me, because I'm like, dang, I'm really going to have to take whatever the first thing is that's coming to me, because I had other obligations that was coming up too. And it took me a while to like accept that. It was really, really hard because it's like, man, now I really got to do something that I don't want to do. I was doing something that I didn't mind doing, but the amount of stress that was coming with it, I'm like, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? And so now I was not doing anything, and I'm like, I'm really going to have to take the next thing that came, which was this job. And boy, I was not happy about it. I'm not going to lie. I was not happy about it. But I told myself, I said, you know what? We got to make this work. You know what I'm saying? We got to make this work, because if we don't, you know, who knows whatever else. And so this is when work ethic comes in, because sometimes, man, you have to do things. And I hated this saying my parents used to say, you have to do the things you don't want to do to get to the places you want to go, right? One thing that I learned in that, and I had this conversation with my cousin the other day, because she struggling with jobs, which I talked about in another video, the last video, or last two videos. And one of the things she was like, man, I'm trying to find, you know, like someone where people treat you better and this, that, and the third, whatever. And I was like, that's that Gen Z thing, man, because I mean, not just Gen Z, because I'm a millennial, but it's like we want environments that are positive, cohesive, and stuff like that. And I told her, I was like, baby, that's not life. You know what I'm saying? You're not always going to have an environment that is cohesive, that isn't toxic, that isn't, you kind of just got to stay in your bubble. You know what I mean? And I also learned that in working in that last place, although I was the GM, the person who owns it, they're the ones that make the final decision, not me. Even though I was in management, even though I was in charge, the person who makes the final decision is the person who owns the building. So I told her, I said, ultimately, you'll never be able to get, or it'll be hard for you to get your ideal situation when somebody else is in control. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there are some situations better than others, but the way that things are now, you got to kind of find a situation and stick to it. So this is why work ethic is important, because even though I'm at this job, I could be like, man, people make this amount of money more than I do. People can do this that I can't do. I decided to myself, I'm going to hunker down and I'm going to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? Because I understand that although I'm not where I want to be now, when I was not working, 6 months had passed. And I ran through thousands of dollars that I had in reserves because I wasn't working. And I told myself, and I told my cousin this, I was like, imagine if I worked for those 6 months. I said, those thousands of dollars, 10,000 plus that I spent, I could have had that in savings. I could have had that invested. But because I didn't have a job, now I'm putting out money instead of bringing money in. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was bringing money in from candles, it wasn't as much as I was spending out. And so ultimately I say this, like, you know, sometimes with work ethic, sometimes you got to stay down till you come up. And, you know, I know that sounds cliche, but this is what I mean by that. Whatever, we're all uncomfortable in some way. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's not being able to pay your bills, whether it's things being expensive, whether it's you trying to build an idea, whatever it is, sometimes you got to just like hunker down and focus. Like, I'm laser focused on this because I still got other debt that I'm gonna pay off and that I'm paying off right now, student loans and stuff like this. So by this time next year, I should make a video letting y'all know that it's all gone. Like, it's $30,000+, about $28,000 that I got left. And I'm working to get those done, and I'm gonna get them done. I really want them paid off by the end of the year. That's really my goal. That's why I'm working so much. But sometimes when people say, man, you gotta take another job, or you gotta go do that job you don't like, or you gotta pick up another hobby and stuff like that, people think that you have to sacrifice for a long time. You don't. You do have to sacrifice from some time. So it's like, I might not get as much sleep, I might work a little more, but depending on how much I want to make or how fast I want to make it, that depends on how much work ethic I need to put in. You know, for me, it's like, okay, I'm giving myself to the end of the year, so that's like another 6 months. So that's like me being 6 months of uncomfortability, right? But whether you know it or not, 6 months is gonna come and go. You know what I'm saying? Just like 6 months has come and gone before, just like 6 months have come and gone before, just like 6 months have come and gone before. Same thing if you want to make videos and stuff like this. Like, I'm making these videos, I've been pumping out content on all different channels because it's like, let me try it for 3 months. Let me try it for 2 months. Let me try it for 6 months. Because 6 months are gonna come and go whether I wanted to or not. You know, and I spent a lot of time, and I talked to a friend of mine, I spent a lot of time thinking and planning about things, which is not a bad thing, instead of just trying and failing at things. You know, I don't know if these videos is gonna hit. I honestly don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because this is me putting whatever the information out is to whoever needs it, but it's also me putting those ideas out into the universe, out into the world to see what sticks, see what resonates. And then for me, once I do that, I can make peace with it and I can move on to the next thing. So work towards what you want to do now. You know, sacrifice a little bit. It don't gotta be miserable, even though work sucks, but your job is gonna suck anyways. So if you have something that you can lock in on, you can make it suck less. You know what I'm saying? And if you're still here, you know, just drop a thumbs up in the chat so I know that you watched the video. But you can make it suck less. If you want to find some ways, I can tell you in another video how I make it through my day. You know, it's a lot of podcasts, it's a lot of mental things that I do to make it through my day. I'm driving 10 hours a day, you know, for the most part. And I do that, you know, 4 days a week. So it's like, but I can talk about it in another video. But by the time y'all see this video, probably in a year, that debt is going to be gone, because I know, hey, 6 months is going to come and go. And if I don't just make these 6 months count, I'm going to want to make another 6 months count. Or I can stretch that 6 months to a year. But it's like, if I can be uncomfortable for 6 months, get it done, then I have another 6 months that I don't have to be as uncomfortable. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So it's all about how you frame things. And then another thing with work ethics, you kind of have to go along to get along. So find something that's going to help make that situation easier for you and more manageable for you. Like for me, all I do is work, go to the gym, and spend time with my family. And that's because that's what I choose to do. I don't go out. I was a manager at a night lounge, nightclubs. I don't go out as much anymore right now because I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to where I want to get to, and that's a priority. And so people also think that sacrifice has to be like bad, like, oh, well, you can't go out with friends, you can't do this, you can't do that. I can. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I see my friends when I see them, but I just don't want to, because what I want to do is, you know, get to that end goal, which is more important to me right now than those things. You know what I'm saying? And in 6 months, when they see me again, or 3 months, or how long it takes me to get this done, when they see me again, that part will be done, and I can focus on whatever the next goal is. You know what I'm saying? So work towards what you want to do. If that's getting a job and getting a side hustle, get it, get your money, and get out the door. That doesn't mean you got to do it forever. That might mean 6 months. It might mean a year. But 6 months is going to come and go before you know. We already almost 6 months into the year. How fast is that going? The next 6 months are going to go just as fast as that, if not faster. So, you know, keep that in mind. Think about that. You know, work ethic. These are some tips that I use, man. These are some thought processes that I have. I know the time is going to come regardless. It's going to go. It has gone. You know what I'm saying? It's going to continue to go. So make the best of it the best you can. Don't kill yourself to do it. But sometimes it's just challenging yourself a little more. Man, let me try to do this extra day at work. Let me try to make these extra $200. Let me make an extra $300 a week. Let me, you know, make an extra $200 in my paycheck and see how much that frees you up just a little bit more. You know, try it. Let me know. Drop a thumbs up if you made it to the end of the video. Drop 2 thumbs up if you made it to the end of the video. I'm going back to work. Peace. Talk to y'all later.